Welcome back here to the CrossFIRE Global Invitational. We're about to find out who is greater, EU or Brazil, as that's the last two matches of the day, starting off with FlipSid versus OPK. And, wait, I'm wrong.
FlipSid versus Rude, right?
Mixing them up, yeah.
That's
FlipSid
okay.
versus Rude, followed by Penta versus OPK.
You can just say Europe versus Brazil and you'll be right for both.
Europe versus Brazil, best of two.
Yeah, with two teams they're tag teaming out. That's what they're doing.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's just a battle for bragging rights at this point because the way it was going to work out for this group, or for the next group actually, was Penta. In order for OPK to have a chance, Penta had to beat Boss. And if Penta beat Boss, then OPK has a chance to go out of the group, depending on how many rounds Penta had won. But Penta lost. So that doesn't even matter anymore. Boss 100% makes it out.
OPK may have a grudge to settle in their last game.
Oh, yeah, they may. Because if it's Penta's fault that they can't go through.
But for the game at hand, you have to say, between FlipSid and Rude, I don't know. Because it seems like Rude, doesn't matter who they're playing.
Always close.
It's either going to be like 10-8, 10-7, or overtime, baby. So we might be in for a close one here again. That being said, FlipSid hasn't really taken anything close that I can remember. I mean, there's been so many matches that it's hard to keep everything straight. But if we look back, they played Cherry Stars, and that was actually reasonably close, right?
Yeah.
It went to overtime, and Cherry
Golden round.
Right, golden. So I guess
reasonably close. Yeah.
The worst at this apparently because that cannot be any closer. That being said, the other two matches versus TGF and versus Makta,
it got close at points, but it wasn't close overall.
Right, there were times of where it looked like FlipSid was really going to start battling their way into the match, but it never really weren't able to consistently threaten in every round and ended up losing pretty, I would say, decisively to both teams. That being said, Rude has taken everybody close, but they can't put any wins on the board, right?
They can't seem to just get the last couple rounds. And if you look at Rude's matchups, or not even just their matchups, sorry, the games they played, it doesn't even look like they're choking or just not winning the late round scenarios. It's just like they're not winning, enough of them. It's like there's not one thing you can point out about Rude where they're just, maybe besides Steel one. Maybe that's the only thing you can point out about Rude where they're blatantly something's going wrong.
I mean, sometimes you'd have to say it's a team thing. It's a team thing if you're losing by that little every time. Somebody has to step up and put the nail in the coffin and win those. You talk about late round clutch situations. What about late set clutch situations? When it's the most, when everything's on the line, it's all important, especially in these best of one group stages. Every single game is important, and if you can't win a single one, you have to say that's a weakness.
100%.
Exactly how to pin that down.
Because if you can get that close to every single team, even these amazing teams like TGF.
Right, who looked really strong in their last match. I mean, they looked stronger. Rude looked better against TGF than Makta did against TGF.
And, I took a pause there because I was going to say TGF and Makta, but Makta looked not entirely outclassed by TGF, but just outclassed in about half the rounds.
Exactly. And
that's enough to say, I would just say they were kind of outclassed by TGF. And so the fact that Rude was so close to TGF, and honestly just a couple of rounds away from just pulling that out or at least bringing overtime, I remember that there was a couple of rounds where they did something blatantly wrong.
Yeah.
And if they had just fixed those or not made those tiny little mistakes, they could have at least brought it to overtime. And that's something that you can't say about Makta. It's hard to even name what Makta did wrong besides change the pace.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was against Cherry Stars was it in their first match of the day against TGF where they just gifted a round over? I think it was actually against Cherry Stars. I don't know. It's all bleeding together at this point, let's be honest.
It was against TGF that they did gifted a round away. 1v3.
Yeah.
Where they did not peak the right way. And it was not...
On sub base, right?
It wasn't something that's hindsight 2020 kind of stuff. It was like, you do this every time. You should be peaking together. You should be knowing...
Muscle memory.
Yeah. It should be muscle memory at this point. But... let's just see if they can finally close a match out. They've definitely shown that they can be contenders with anybody. They can,
So then what then has been the biggest issue here for you for FlipSide? Because, both of these teams sitting at 0-3, they clearly both have a lot to work on. What can you point at for FlipSide that is really biting them here in this tournament?
For FlipSide, it seems to be like a multitude of things. They were very stagnant, and a lot of their games, they didn't switch the strategy up enough. They didn't have maybe enough under their belt. Not really too sure about that. But and they also just looked like they couldn't compete about half the rounds with most of the teams they played. They just got destroyed and didn't look like they were on the same playing field. And then the other half, they were clawing their way back in. They were looking like they were contenders.
That being said, we do see back-to-back Mexico bans here from Rude, and I think FlipSide banning Ankara is not a bad idea. And we're going to see another Black Widow. A lot of Black Widow today. And again, we see side select being selected blacklist. And FlipSide will go ahead and take to that GR immediately.
And they did just probably watch a game where Black Widow was played by Rude, so maybe they have a little something.
Last thing, who you predicting? Rude. All right, let's find out. FlipSide versus Rude.
Now, we'll say this real quick, by the way, as we're starting this match. I've said Rude 4 times now, and I'm 0 for 3 on that. I'm saying Rude in this matchup because of how close they've pinned all their opponents. And here we see Creeds, just trades going back and forth, but actually in the favor of Rude here. If you backing up my pick there, that's my boys. And we got a 2v3 with Dennis and Snox. Trying to keep hope alive here, and Snox, he's taking out another one. So it's just a 2v2 with the health in favor of FlipSide, but not really too much.
Yeah, all things considered, you might even say health almost equal, but Snox, the low health member, going to go down first. And Dennis going to follow him immediately after at the hands of Steel. And round 1 going to go to Rude. So at this pace, 10-0, and then you're right.
What a rude start from them against FlipSide.
Indeed. How dare they? How dare they? That being said, CF moving aggressively forward and is actually going to come under fire as he drops it in vision of Creeds. I'm not sure if he saw it or not, but regardless, Creeds does back off, and it will be MXM who finds the first frag there as DD... Oh, excuse me, I was thinking of DD here with the bomb right behind him. That was where the first firefight happened there between Creeds and DD, but doesn't look like anybody took any damage. ADRF looking at here towards mid. Dennis getting it seen there just barely as DDD... King DDD. That's my new name for him, King DDD.
RDDD.
Completely flashed out. Probably heard some steps and just spraying that Creed for the great I'm not sure how that flash came out, but great, well closed in on by
Everybody's
Creeds.
getting flashed right now. ADRF flash now.
Actually, you can get dunked there by Snox.
What a nade there. Now it's down to a 3v3. With it looks like Natsu in a good spot here to be able to take out Creeds, and he does. So he only got 7 in Snox over there defending the A side. And does the BL side have any idea where they're at? It looks like GR doesn't even actually know where the BL side is going.
I mean, I got to say, at this point, at least for this round, it looks like everybody's playing a little bit loose.
Yeah, they're probably relaxed right now. They know they can't make it through. And so they're both just playing loose and relaxed. Just probably going to see their true potential here because they're all relaxed.
Yeah, could be. We'll have to see how it goes. Some nice damage dealt there, but no kills secured as Snox going to go for the repeat, going to get flashed out, but is able to get undercover before anything really dangerous happens until that headshot there by MXM. Going to turn it into a nuts. A nice shot there onto 7.
You know, uncharacteristically, I've seen a lot of moments in these games where Snox is just missing shots. And one thing Snox is really well known for is just having a really consistent shot. Never really missing if you gave him a free kill. And maybe he's feeling a bit under the weather in this tournament, or he just hasn't been practicing as much as he should have been or something like that. But his shot just hasn't been as consistent as it used to be.
I mean, it's certainly not been him stepping up for this team. I would say it's been, well, as he clips a nice headshot there while we're saying it. But for me, it's really been 7 and Snox underperforming on this team. Just throughout the tournament, if you look at it at their body of work.
Frag-wise, yeah.
Yeah. And I would definitely say that it's not something you expect out of Snox. He's, it's really been Creeds and Dennis who have been.
I would say Creeds has been the most. He's been the most consistent by far for sure.
Yeah.
With Dennis and Rain bringing up, second and third there, but they've both been consistent with their performances.
You'd have to say you want Rain in the clutch situation. Dennis is going to go out there and win you around in a straight up situation.
And then if you can put somebody in a spot where they get behind somebody or something like that, it's always going to be Creeds. Yeah. He's going to be in the right spot, right time. Impact Friday.
It definitely has been Creed's the most consistent performer by far here for FlipSide in this tournament. And definitely that smoke not landing where they wanted it. I don't think anybody can get up on that balcony. Otherwise, that would be
prepare for the worst.
Broken. DD going to get the first frag here onto Creeds, and they're cleaning them out pretty well there with a nice split coming through mid. Knotson going to continue to inhabit this area, and Dennis and Snox going to have to find a way through, and they will find the first one there through on Knotson, but I do believe that they're both all three holding on to this point. He's going to get, saw the head bobbing up there, but wasn't able quite to hit the shot there, and Dennis on 2 HP going to need to make an amazing shot, and MXM picking up both from that exact position, cleaning up the mess for his team, and that's going to put Rude out to a pretty early lead here.
And if you'll notice, Rude did it yet again. Somebody took long way control, boom, they rush out mid. And if I'm noticing it this often and they're doing it this often, it's surprising that FlipSide did not notice it from watching their past broadcasts as well.
It also feels like, even though as it's being traded back and forth in favor of each team, it really does feel like, this is just a complete firefight. No real time to talk about anything. His skills come in fast and furious, and at 100% possible. I mean, if you want to pull off a 2v1, this is about as good as you can ask for it, right? You got the bomb in hand.
They're both one shot.
And I don't think they really know where you are.
And they're both gathering up together. When you're lit up this much, it's not a bad idea to stick together, but not close. You don't want to be sticking on top of each other because then you're just going to get collateraled. For me, I prefer whenever we're both one shot, just spread apart. Get spots that you feel like you're comfortable with and try to work it that way.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Or even they might get just the perfect timing here.
This might work out.
And they will get the first vision of him, but they both know how lit up they are, and that's a nice grenade. And well done there by DD to ignore the grenade, but it did work out in the end as Creeds is able to hit his shots. And that will put another round on the board here for FlipSide.
The difference was between what I was talking about there was that they didn't peek at the same, they didn't collapse on top of each other.
That's twice now. Somebody continuously missing their smoke grenade onto balcony. Unless there's some reason that I'm missing that you would want it up there.
They're just throwing them off. Maybe there's aliens up there. Who knows?
That way you get the giant wall of smoke, right? All the way up.
Connecting up to that one.
Exactly.
Run through it somehow.
Who knows? Maybe you can swim in the smoke with some secret input.
I can see that being a rap song, Swimming in the Smoke.
That would be a pretty dope rap song. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't already a rap song with that exact name. But I do digress as Dennis rings a beautiful headshot there. And that will put FlipSide again in the advantageous position. We've seen early picks both directions. And nice one there from ARDF. But Steele put to within an inch of his life, and the only man with any health is swept off the board there by Creeds, as well as the bomb going to be seen there clearly by both members, and Steele, the last man alive, is nowhere to hide in the corner as Seven decides he is no longer fit for this world and commits suicide. He did. I'm in game. Don't give me that look. I'm not advocating that he does that. Jeez, what are you giving me that look for? Famous.
Don't do this to me. It's just hard to hear that. I don't know how to react at all.
Oh, come on now.
Well,
at least it's not like a CFPL where you get the negative 1 points. The -1 +1 if you commit suicide in team deathmatch.
Oh, that is true.
Which
you
is
lose a point for your team.
devastating because nobody does it intentionally at this point, but it has to be a rule because you can do it intentionally and get a free.
Especially in team deathmatch.
Yeah. Anyway, all of a sudden, is a 1v1 is what I was going to say. Very clearly.
Steel didn't know how to make it out of his spawn. Nobody gave him a map, but it's still working out for him. And it looks like he does know where... Oh, he's not going to know he crossed. Yeah, this could work out really well in favor of Creeds. He's going to have no idea where he is, and Creeds is probably going to be peeking this window here. Might catch him off guard.
Oh, he does get seen. Oh, and he gets tapped in the head. Oh!
Steel coming up huge. The man that needed to come up huge is now coming up. A little too late, but still, it's nice to see.
The 2D, as it were. The Tudug. Hey, the smoke landed not on the balcony. Well done. Well done, Creeds and 7. I don't know which one of you is throwing it on the balcony, but you nailed them that time.
You did it, bud.
Whew. And we do see them charging through said smoke and pushing towards this B point. I don't know if they'll go through the second one, but ADRF going to be joined with the rest of his team as well as the bomb. So probably going to be a pretty heavy 8 B hit here. And we'll see what they can try to do with it as they're coming in. Ooh, setting in a nice position. They're going to go 1 for 1 and give Creeds a chance to hit it. Just can't hit any of his shots there. But Snots look like here to clean it up for him. Nice double kill there for him, looking for more, and it's actually Dennis from the back. A nice team play there, all things or by the end of the round, excuse me.
Ooh, but still, Creed's here popping off, taking 2 of his teammates, add them together, and they still don't pass him up and score. He's definitely fragging hard right now.
As well, this is the last round of the half, and it will decide the winner going into the second, or the leader going into the second half. And
ADRF. Just taking Dennis out like that. I think Dennis did the same to him earlier, so he's just payback right there.
Yeah, tit for tat, as it were. And the bomb is swinging back over again, looking like B's the place to be for Rude right now. As Creed's going to throw a nice flash in there, try and slow people down. Didn't get too heavily flashed. It didn't look like a couple of them on the way in. But hesitant to cross the ever-present danger that door does give. And it's actually going to be double headshots there coming through the smoke in favor of Rude. Looking like they're going to close it out unless... Yeah, well, they answered my question before I could pose it.
Close it out.
5-4. 5-4 here for Rude on the side switch.
Steel coming up big.
Yeah.
Hitting a lot of shots there. Nice little Dougal. A nice little Dougal from him that 2 rounds ago.
The Dougal. Can you teach me how to Dougal?
And 7 here still struggling though.
Is that reference stale at this point? That's a pretty
it just shows your
reference.
Age. I'm just kidding. But
that
still,
was a song in high school for me, right?
Teach me how to Dougal. We're making it up though. We're making an esports theme.
Oh, because those songs go so well. Although there's the not bad one that we keep seeing in the break with the
League of Legends one is not that bad either.
Oh, ooh! As Creed's picking up DD and Knots trades fast and furious, looking like FlipSid going to come out in the better situation here, as it's going to be a 4v2 and only MXM alive in the 1v3 and no CF or C4. Why do I keep CF, C4 in his hands?
It's a part of CF.
Exactly. It's the first part of it there. Interesting pathing they're going to go ahead and take as Ray.
Just looks like they're trying to frag.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And it looks like he's the one going to get the frag, though. See if he can clean this up. This would be a pretty nice round for him to get, just for the fun of it.
Especially if he's going to pop anyone, pop in the C4 holder.
Oh, that could have been a good play from him if he had lived just a little bit longer.
Or just hit that first.
Doggle him down.
Or had hit the first no-scope, I believe it was. Through the window. That would have been key. And then he already has his deagle out, looking at the second one. But it wasn't to be, and that ties us up again. 5-5. And Rude looking like they're going to try and play everybody to the final round.
That's what you like to see from him.
Yeah.
Just cool, clean headshots. That's what we're used to seeing from him, actually.
And there's been fewer of those than we'd like to see out of him, but better late than never, as well as 7 picking one there up onto MXM. DD, which, that being said, it's really not seemed to be as important a matchup here.
Ooh, nice quick step there from 7. I was talking about him before the half, saying that he's still not stepping up a little bit, but here he comes.
I was also going to say that if we look at the previous matchup with Rude when they were playing Cherry Stars, right, that the Jinva
MXM
matchup was so important on Black Widow, and it hasn't really mattered here at all.
No, I don't know what the difference is here. Maybe it's just a difference in play style, but I'm done. I'm over it. It's just going to happen every time. If we want teams to win, then we should just start talking about them like that.
Exactly. That being said, we've been talking about both of these teams in that way for pretty much the whole tournament, and they have yet to pick one up. Well, I guess you've been hyping Rude, so you can blame yourself for that one.
Yeah, I've been taking them all this L's. That's why they're so close, and then me hyping them.
Oh, that's a lot coming through the door. ADRF not going to be able to pick up more than 2, which is actually plenty because they get completely wiped here. Snox gets a double, but it doesn't matter because the round goes in favor of Rude. And again, we're tied up 1 apiece, going each direction. Looking like we're going to get another overtime, baby. Woo. 7 going to take down Edie. Looking for a nice kill here through the smoke there for Snox, but he isn't able to quite find it. Dennis not going to find the spray through the smoke on MXM either. And flip side, we'll just go ahead and take that man advantage and see what they can do to work with it.
You know, speaking of the snipers, though, there has been a lot of sniping kills back and forth, though. MXM, Steel, 7.
Yeah,
it has been going back and forth, just not like one-on-one kind of thing.
Well, it feels like they're all coming in the middle of the round when there's kills going back and forth every direction. It's not like those, early picks you want to see from a sniper, or like the late 2v2, 2v3, 3v, those kinds of early on in the fray picks.
It's like you're seeing the frags you could see with a rifle. Like it's
exactly.
Kind of mid-range-ish. Not what you would expect from a sniper necessarily.
That being said, we did see that great round from 7 where he had the double, right? Where the second one coming on the quick scope. But it just hasn't felt... I'm not saying it's not non-impactful, right? It just hasn't been nearly as impactful as it was...
Hasn't been early in the round.
When it was Rude versus Cherry Stars, where it was like felt like the whole match was dictated.
Depended on it, yeah. It's not finishing the rounds really, and it's not beginning the rounds.
Yeah.
It's more of just flavor added on top. A little sprinkle of salt.
We've been on Black Widow pretty much the entire second half of the day here, and it's been really interesting to see how the different teams have been playing it because, for example, like Rude versus Cherry Stars, it was so sniper dependent. That being said, FlipSid going to go ahead and take the 5 AR into this round and versus the double op setup of Rude, and we saw how exactly on this map how that went completely pear-shaped for TGF, wasn't it?
TGF and Mokta weren't even really centered around the ops. It was just like aggressiveness everywhere.
Who was it that was playing double op, one on A and one?
That was Revenge and wasn't it?
I don't think it was TGF versus Mokta. It was a different match.
It might have been Cherry Stars.
But I remember what happened, right? They had the 2 ops, and then they charged immediately up through Cat onto the A point and were in close contact there. And, nice shot there from Rain. Rain going to get taken down in response between the grenade of somebody and the shots of ADRF. And 7 going to make it through the door of death, only to die immediately after being chased down. Right? I'm right. Well, is there a name for that door? That just like how terrifying that is to cross at any time?
No, we just call it B-doors. We just call it the cross.
But you have to like hold your breath every time you walk across it, right?
Yeah, unless we smoke it. And if you smoke
Even if it's smoked.
Yeah, but you just pre-fired as you're crossing. I almost never have trouble with crossing there. I don't understand why people do.
I see so many people die.
There's only like 1 or 2 spots they can play. If you just like pre-fired as you're crossing, there's a really low chance you die.
ADRF trying to pull the Chomar, and he ran out of bullets.
Yo, that was really close there, ADRF. It was almost a beauty to watch. A beauty.
I swear it's like somebody put a challenge on the internet for the 1v3 retake on B.
It's been so
Black
close.
Widow.
So many times where it's been so close where people get 2 kills. They just can't seem to cinch it up with the third.
Can't quite copy the magic of Konar, which was really the first multi-kill I think we saw in the tournament, and that play definitely has stuck with me through the whole thing. That was quite the play. 7 with a nice deagle kill there, going to be traded for 1 onto Snox. And all of a sudden, we have our first 2-point lead that I can remember. It might have had one earlier on, but it is FlipSid 8-6.
The only one we had was a 2-0 by Rude.
But yeah, I was going to say, back to what we were talking about, the different kinds of matches we've seen on Black Widow today. You know, looking at the match we just had between TGF and Makta. Go ahead.
DD's in an amazing position right here. He hasn't. He does finally capitalize on it, but he just wasn't moving quick enough. But yeah, I think the most diverse one we've seen though is the Makta versus TGF. That one was just crazy. That was the most exciting one to watch, even though it was kind of like a stomp at times both ways. Overall, it was just like curious as to like who's gonna come out on top. You can never seem to predict it. And DD, he came out on top of that one right there.
Let's see if we can also take 7 look in the wrong direction, but it's actually ADRF coming in to kill steal.
Kill secure.
That's right. Wait, well, that puts us at 8-7. This one's gonna go close again. What?
Please.
What is the round differential for our team? It's got to be like
the most
5. No, I'm talking about grand total. Even if they were to lose right now, it'd be -3. Does golden round even count? Is it like -1, I guess?
I mean, you might as well count it. So let's say -1 there, -3 from another one, -2 from another one. So they're -6 right now. And if they end up, if this was the winning score, -7. So if they do go to lose this right here, they've played 4 matches and they're -8. So an average of 2 per game.
Wait, no, they went -2 versus TGF.
-3 next, and then -1 next. And then now.
So that would be 5-6, and then
7-8 if they lose 10-8.
Yeah, you're right. Which is just crazy.
That's insane. That's such a tight. And to go 0-4 and still be so close.
Yeah.
You'd count all your rounds together that you've lost, and you can't even get a win out of your rounds. That's how you know you have a small amount of loss.
Yeah, but then, I mean, what do you do?
Lost rounds.
What do you point at? You know, what do you go back and work at?
That's what I was saying. It's such small things. It's actually going to be really difficult for Rude to go back and fix everything because so many small things. It's not even something massive. Like for FlipSid, something massive for them was they were so stale with their strategy in a couple of their games, just not doing anything that they should have been doing. They were reading the opponent and then just not reacting. What a spray down that was there. Just getting mowed down as you try to come out.
Looking
But
like
for Rude, you can't even name something so obvious like that. I don't even know exactly what to say. It was just like late round scenarios was one. They need to play more together. They need to be more confident and more decisive. And then another thing is, actually, shoot, I don't even know.
I mean, you just have to say there's that one intangible of like clutch. Can you clutch?
Yeah.
As a team, when it's on the line, when it's 9-8 against you, can you pick up the one round to push it to overtime? And then once you're in overtime, can you win the overtime?
I think it's pretty much what it comes down to. Most things Rude does, they do really well. Almost everything they do really well. But they just can't seem to close out rounds. And not even just rounds that they're up numbers on or even numbers on. Even other rounds that you see other teams closing out on. And we're just seeing
it's going to be a close one here. 3-3.
3-3 right now.
7 trying to pick someone off as they come through the door. Raging going to pick one off as he jumps through the door. Telling me what you're saying. There's in a nice position there. MXM finding Knotson. Only MXM left alive.
If they're going to lose 10-8. If he doesn't clutch... Oh, he might be able to clutch us out right now.
Well, there goes that idea.
10-8. Average of 2 rounds lost.
What a strange. And well, I guess we have the answer to one of our questions, which is, will Europe win a match? And they have, at the expense of Brazil. And
so the other question is, will Brazil win a match?
Yeah,
we'll find out in the next game.
They have.
OPK, yeah, they did. I take it all back. But the Brazil versus Europe, will they beat Europe?
Exactly. Now it becomes the winner of this, as a region has more wins than the other. So, I mean, it's so weird to see Rude. Rude is such a weird team. How do you play? The maximum they lost by is 3 rounds. All 4 games, the max they ever lost by was 3 rounds.
Like I said, and like you said, it just comes down to clutch. Not necessarily clutch is, but that
it's more like a team clutch rather than
you got to close out rounds.
Yeah,
you need to have that Kobe, that MJ on your
exactly, team. Exactly. That person with the killer instinct that gets better, right? Cold blood. When it gets better, the closer it is. You know, we see that out of a lot of teams. Like, I mean, actually, I don't even know if SV's ever been put in that situation.
No, they won so many rounds where they were down numbers, especially versus OPK.
No, I mean, like in the late stages when it's like 10-9 and for the 9-8 for the championship, and you know
they haven't been put in that position.
Exactly, that's the big issue. Regardless, you have to say, you know, we've seen people. You just have to go and maybe it's a confidence thing for Rude, where they don't come into any match thinking that they're better than anyone. You know, you want to respect your opponent, but you want to know that you can win, and maybe that's all it takes for them, and then they're suddenly a top-tier team.
Could be it. There's so many recipes for success, and they just got to find theirs.
Yeah, we'll have to see moving forward. I'm sure we'll see. I hope we'll see them back here for CFS, because they'll be an interesting team to keep an eye on. But it's good to see them. That will close out all of our matches for Group A. TGF leave the group 4-0, Makta 3-1, Cherry Stars 2-2, FlipSid 1-3, and Rude, who probably have the closest, like,
they have more rounds than FlipSid.
Probably more rounds than Cherry Stars.
Then they might.
Easily. They got smacked pretty well by Makta and TGF.
It's kind of that's so heart-wrenching.
But they'll finish over.
You have the third most rounds, but you're in last place.
Yep. Woo. That is a rough pill to swallow, but you know, I think maybe it is just a confidence thing. You just got to be confident that you can go out there and win, and you will. For FlipSid, I think they have some pretty clear issues which they can go back and work on.
100%.
And we'll have to see if they come back stronger. Of course, we will finish the group stage play here with Penta versus OPK to decide who is greater, EU or Brazil. We'll be back right after this break.